What's up, guys? This is Storm back again with another video, and today we're going to talk about the reality of how little time you actually have. Now, let's do a quick overview, and keep in mind too that this video is going to be for people who are, considering becoming the best versions of themselves and, trying to craft and create a life that's conducive to that. But let's start first with getting 8 hours of sleep, right? Let's go through a full day. So first, getting 8 hours of sleep, obviously important. If you watch my video on how to increase your energy, you understand why. But we'll start with 8 hours of sleep, right? Then we'll do an 8-hour workday because that's what most normal people are doing at this point in time. Now, let's say it takes you about an hour round trip to get to and from work. Some people more, some people less, but we'll add an hour. So now we're at 17 hours for the day. So you have 7 hours left to do with whatever you want. So let's also say that you're gonna go to the gym, and on the days that you're going to the gym, let's say that you take an hour doing your workout and an hour total to commute to and from the gym. So now we are at a total of 19 hours for the day. So you have a remainder of 5 hours. Let's say you, outside of work, let's say you're eating twice per day. And let's say that it's taking you about an hour total to both prepare and eat your food, or to go out, pick up, and eat your food. So we'll subtract another 2 hours for that. So now we're at 21 hours. So we have 3 hours left to do with whatever we want for the day. Now, when you wake up and getting ready for work is going to take about an hour. So you really have 2 hours left to do with whatever you want for the day. You have 2 hours left to do with whatever you want for the day. Really let that sink in. So how are you spending that last 2 hours? Right? You could spend that last 2 hours on Instagram. You could spend the last 2 hours on YouTube. You could spend that last 2 hours on Facebook. You could spend that last 2 hours watching 2 shows on Netflix. You could spend that last 2 hours reading. Right? You could spend the last 2 hours on Xbox. Lord knows I did for most of my younger adult life, or I should say older childhood life. So how are you spending that last 2 hours, right? Now, really think about it, right? You have 2 hours out of the day that you're not doing things that are absolutely needed for the betterment of your human being, of your person. So if you have 2 hours left and you want to use it wisely, you could maybe work on a side business so that you can get yourself out of your 8-hour a day job. Or maybe you can use one of those hours or 30 minutes out of those hours to meditate, right? Maybe you're going to use those last 2 hours to read, to read something that's actually going to benefit you in the long run. Or you could just waste those 2 hours, right? So that's really about it. I mean, I think this video in itself is going to show you the actual reality of the fact that 24 hours in a day is not a lot of time. And so because you don't have a lot of time in a full day, you have to really utilize those hours wisely, right? And some people will cut corners. Some people will sleep 6 hours a day. Some people will, skip going to the gym. Some people will stay home and order their food instead of cooking it so it can get delivered. But if you're going to do those things, if you're going to cut those corners, then where are you spending your extra hours? That's still going to be the question, right? If you have 4 hours at the end of the day instead of 2 hours, and you're spending all 4 of them watching Netflix, then what was the point of cutting the corner to begin with, so that you could watch more Netflix? But that's just a quick video on the reality of how little time you really have. And really start thinking about those last 2 hours and really start thinking about utilizing them a little bit more wisely. And also think about utilizing your weekends very wisely, because I mean, unless you're going to do all of your weekly chores during those 2 hours, you're probably going to do a lot of that stuff on the weekend. So keep in mind when you're deciding to go out at 8 p.m. to dinner, then go out to the club and or bar after dinner and stay out until 4 a.m. the next morning, right? Because you're spending 8 hours doing that whole ordeal when you could spend those 8 hours doing something that might be a little bit better for you. And that's something that we all have to learn, myself included. But that's a quick video about the reality of how little time you have. Really start thinking about those 2 hours a day. And, obviously 2 hours a day times 5 days a week, that's a full 10 hours. So what could you get done in 10 hours if you started focusing that time in a place that made more sense in your life? But that's the end of this video. Until next time, this is Storm. Peace.